The book has so many empowerment tools within it, and there are even the technologies we can utilize now to say, are we truly healthy or not? Are our markers there where they need to be? I'm not sure. Well, you could answer those questions and get there. But then there's the other side of that, that there are so many, as Darren Olian, who I've had on the podcast, wrote about a book, Fatal Conveniences. And these are conveniences that, we kind of accept because we want things easier. And then when we get to that point of becoming sick, we allow conventional medicine to step in and give me a pill for the ill sort of approach. Do you feel that beyond the empowerment tools that you outlined here and everything else, that we need to have a fundamental change in where we place health and not wait for problems to occur and then just address them with pills and things that manage the disease, but truly put it at the pinnacle that it should be number one? And again, there are a lot of people out there that, can afford, let's say, even these interventions that are more preventative, but they would rather spend it on a car. They would rather do this. I mean, most people know nowadays that McDonald's isn't very good, yet it's still growing. It's still,
Mm.
do you think that conversation also has to take place of, hey, do we even value our health? Like, even if we give you all the empowerment tools, are you going to apply it? Because there are these conveniences in doing things that are not healthy.
Mm, mm. Yeah, it's a great point. And I certainly have heard a lot of people in my life personally and also as a physician who have proudly stated, I'd so much rather eat this food, insert junk food, uh, and shave 5 years off my life than
Right.
give up this thing that's bringing me so much pleasure. And that's where I think there's really an awareness piece that is so much more than just a physical health awakening. I think it's much more of a spiritual awakening that we
Mm-hmm.
have to start to bring back into our culture. You know, there's been some incredible books that have been written that get out at this over the last few years. I would say Hacking of the American Mind by Rob Lustig, Dopamine Nation by Anne Lemke, Stolen Focus by Johan Hari. These books get at this idea that, um, and fundamentally, I think it's rooted in our economic reality of capitalism. And I'm not in any way anti-capitalist at all, but I think the way that the economic structure of our country has sort of emerged is that essentially the dollar and productivity is our God in this
Mm-hmm.
country. And we're
Mm-hmm.
all working towards that. And so we have really have a very despiritualized culture where we really don't understand anymore what our true value is and our true nature as people. I think
Yeah.
that we are not even speaking in school or to children about this reality that like we are miraculous. Like the fact that we are here as people is truly a statistical near impossibility. It's a miracle that we are living in an eternal infinite universe, and at this moment in time, you know, from the explosion of the Big Bang, matter's been hurling through space and somehow has become a constellation that has pulled in consciousness, and we're here talking. And so the just total lack of awe and the drive towards busyness, productivity, earning, they're in conflict. And so what that has led to on a biochemical level is this huge drive for essentially dopamine. And that's what those books that I mentioned are all about, is this just we're on this treadmill of pleasure and of productivity. And we've really lost the deeper sense of happiness and joy that comes from, I think, a true meditation on the miraculousness and awe of life. You see this everywhere. I mean, we've totally despiritualized and sort of sterilized even like the birth process and the pregnancy
That's right.
process. We just sort of look at these as inconveniences when in fact, we could really look at it and say like this is incredible. We're 3D printing from cosmic matter a human that somehow has consciousness, and instead it's just like how quickly can we get in and out, how quickly can we do it. And so to answer your question, I think it's there is going to have to be, I think, a turning for our culture towards a slower, more grounded, more joyful and awe-inspired foundation to the health conversation, or it's going to be really hard to turn the ship around. The why has got to get back to being deeper. And I actually think we're in a moment in human history where this may happen.
Right.
And the reason for that is because everyone knows that something is not quite right with humanity right now.
Mm-hmm.
There is just this sense of discontent that I think is very present in the air, where people are realizing like we're going on this path and we're going hard, but like it's not quite right. The children aren't quite right.
Yep.
The health outcomes aren't quite right. The economy is going in a weird direction. People are not happy. Why are all the kids medicated? Why are all the women medicated? Why is everyone taking all these pills and staring at their phones? And inside, we're literally inside 93.5% of the time. Something's not right. We all know it. Why did we all just like blindly agree to lock ourselves in our house and think that we didn't need to interact with other people when there was really no data to support that? So there's sort of this, I think, growing sense and vibration in the world that like there's something deep and fucked about the way we're living. And I think that's going to help. I think we're seeing some light emerge that people are seeking more depth than what dopamine can give us, and starting to set some of the boundaries to move away from that. So I'm starting to see hints of that. And I think it's going to have to start with there. And that's why I actually think in some ways the wellness and health conversation are actually fueling the problem, because we are, you see what's really performing the best in like the health conversation. And it's the hacks, it's the protocols, it's the longevity, it's the optimization, it's how many minutes of cold plunge do I need per week? And how do I start my morning? And I think that a real message I have in the book is like, yes, those things are important. We do need to do the wellness behaviors, but we need to understand why we're doing the wellness behaviors. And it's not to add 2 years to our lives or to get our biomarkers down. In my perspective, it's to essentially, it's to build a form, this dynamic entity of the body that has the function, the metabolic function, which is fundamentally metabolism, is how we transform food energy to human energy to power our consciousness. It's to build a structure that has good function so that we can reach our highest purpose and we can actually go on that miraculous human spiritual journey of understanding our true natures as miracles. And I think when it comes from that place of honoring the miracle, honoring this ability to want to connect with, everyone has a different belief system, but to connect with the divine, connect with the divine within us. We are duality, right? We are physical and consciousness. And if we can improve the physical, we can get closer to, I believe, that bliss of understanding this limitless nature within us. But that does require the health behaviors, but we should know why we're doing them. And we're not just doing it to check off boxes on the list. We're doing it because we have a brief time to awaken from the forgetting that happened when we came into these bodies as conscious beings, and that's causing all our suffering, and realize that we are truly these limitless, miraculous beings. And so that's what drives me to eat the healthy food and to do the cold plunging and to walk, is that I want to create a structure that's able to essentially be an open channel to all that miraculousness. And that motivates me to keep doing it, and, it doesn't motivate me though, to just like make sure I've checked off the morning routine. And so I think the conversation has lost its way a little bit, and we need to deepen it and broaden it and just, start to say no. Like we're not going to be acting in our health behaviors out of fear. We're going to be acting out of a deep knowledge that we're divine beings who want to make the most of this precious time we have as conscious beings.
Yeah, I love that you're saying all this and you're putting it in the book as well, because I was even at a Biohacker Expo this past weekend. It was just, every little thing you could do, the cold plunge, what's the latest stem cell and a V cell therapy, you could do all these things. But So much of it was missing the foundations of health and understanding what is your why, what is your purpose, what is your value, connection to others, that spiritual drive in you, right? Because otherwise you're just trying these gimmicks, these new technology pieces, and there's nothing to it almost. It almost
Yeah.
seems you're just jumping from one to the other. You're not truly happy. Your markers may improve or go, but the foundations aren't there of health. And a
Yeah.
lot of what you talk about is just let's reconnect with nature. We
Yeah.
are part of nature, and I think we've forgotten that. We stay
Yes.
indoors, we disconnect, we don't want to be. It's almost like we're shunning it, but we
Yes.
have to see that we are all part of nature. It's not any disassociation there.